Welcome to the Stef with an F podcast, where talking life is the name of the game. If you can give me about 40 minutes of your time today, I'm going to walk you through how to actually feel what you're feeling without getting stuck in it and share a step-by-step process to help you move through it with more clarity, safety, and self-trust. This episode isn't about fixing yourself. It's about learning how to meet yourself safely and walk through what's coming up instead of avoiding it. You're creating your own safe space sanctuary. So if you're feeling a little stuck, a little overwhelmed, or just ready to understand yourself on a deeper level, you're in the right place. Make sure you also stay to the end, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. And I would love for you to share your biggest takeaways in the comments below. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and let's get started.
Hey, beautiful souls, and welcome to Stef with an F, episode 1. I'm really glad you're here today. And in this episode, we are learning how to feel it to heal it. And before we begin, I want to invite you into a different way of listening today. This episode isn't about fixing yourself. It's really more about meeting yourself where you are and giving yourself permission to lean into the movement you're being called to. So to start, we're going to take deep breath in and recognize it's about learning how to move through your inner world with more awareness, more choices, and more compassion than you have probably given yourself before. Are you somebody who goes through something and then do you find yourself beating yourself up over it? Well, it's time for you to change that. And if you're here, I want you to really recognize that you're not behind. You are right on time. And this space is here to support your next layer of becoming, because you have to feel it to heal it, which reveals what's underneath it. Now, if you can, let your body soften just a little bit where you are. We're going to get comfortable. Taking another deep breath in and recognize that you don't need to change anything. You don't need to figure it all out right now. Where you are is exactly where you're meant to be, and you are. So just allow yourself to arrive and feel safe in the doing so. Today, we are talking about something that shows up daily and sits at the core of my work and my own healing journey. And if you're new here, I'm Stef with an F, a healer, mentor, and meditation guide who carries the motto of it to heal it. Now, the thing to remember with this feeling it to heal it is that this isn't about digging up the past or pushing yourself into intensity to the point where you don't want to do it anymore. It's going to be intense enough on its own. So take a breather, give yourself permission to be where you are, and recognize that this is really all about learning how to be with what's already here safely, gently, and honestly. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose. Full big belly breath, pulling it in all the way up to the top of your head, and exhale out your mouth. Good. Really center and ground yourself. Because when you can lean into that softness and that safety, you allow yourself to really recognize what it means to feel it, to heal it. This is going to be all about learning how to become the observer so that you can recognize what is coming up with zero judgment and realize that feeling it doesn't mean spiraling into the emotions that are surfacing. It doesn't mean reliving that trauma over and over and over again. We all have trauma in different levels and different layers. It also doesn't mean staying stuck in those emotions, ruminating, and feeling like you're never going to get out. Feeling it means allowing what is already present to exist without resistance and without judgments. It's really important because when we remember that judgment is deeper aspects of our own healing that we have yet to face, we can allow ourselves to go through it. And if you are like me, born in the 80s, talking about your emotions wasn't really something that we talked about. Emotional healing and emotional regulation and everything like that wasn't something that was very common. Most of us were taught to override our feelings, to cope, to push through, to distract, to shove them down and pretend like they don't exist. But let's be honest, that doesn't really last very long. And emotions don't just disappear when we ignore them. Sometimes we wish they did, but we know that they fester and they continue to live in our body. And then they can show up and influence shaping our beliefs, our attachments, and even our behaviors. So when we are sitting deep in those emotions, when we're feeling all of the feels, we recognize that healing begins when we stop running from our past and we start listening to the nudges and guidance that is being shared with us. So your inner child and all those past parts of yourself don't just go away. And so what we have to do is really learn that it's in listening, and that listening has to begin to happen within safety. Because if you don't feel safe, you're never going to want to continue to do this work. So the first thing that you want to do is set the container for the work that you're going to do. Work with a guide, a mentor, a therapist, a healer. And so what I'm about to share with you are 10 different keys to help with this process. They're not rules, they're not steps, but they're ways of relating to your inner world so that you can create that safety and space for healing. Something that I wish I had known a little bit sooner. And I am truly grateful that I can share some of the greatest takeaways that I've had over the last 10 years with you. Really learning how to let go of that judgment, understanding that you don't need to use all of them. It's important to really connect and resonate or connect with the ones that resonate for you. You also don't need to do them perfectly. This is not about perfection. It is all about progression. You're moving forward and really allow them to land where they're going to land. Because awareness is the first act in self-trust, and giving yourself permission is the first step towards integrating these teachings. So if you're ready, I'm ready, and let's dive in. The first key is to name what is present. So if you were to take a breath with me right now, where you're at, no matter where you are, hands on your heart, deep breath in, exhaling, as we begin with honesty. Brutal, open, and safe space honesty, not analysis or paralysis. It's important that you start by asking yourself really gently and calmingly, what is here for me right now? What is coming up for me? What am I feeling? You're not trying to figure out why, not wondering where exactly it came from. We have to first really get present with open, honest, what are we feeling? What is surfacing for me right now? And perhaps you may notice maybe there's some tightness in your chest. Maybe there's some restriction, some restlessness. Perhaps you're like, oh my God, can we hurry up? Are we done yet? It's 11:11 on the clock. Or maybe you're not really feeling anything at all. That is okay. No matter where you're at. This is not about rushing or racing this. And all emotions are completely welcome. Because the important thing is remembering that when you name what's present, you're no longer at its mercy. When you can physically name something, you have an ability, you can research, you can move through it. You're now in relationship with it. So say anger is one of those things that you felt. Anger is a surface emotion and you can dive deeper into it. The next key is allowing your body to lead you. This again, it's not about rationalizing. It's not about labeling. It's not about rushing and racing to get to the end because you need to just have an answer and make it better. Now, what I want to do is shift your awareness from your thoughts and move them into your body. So in this space, I want you to take a few deep breaths with me and ask yourself this emotion that you were feeling earlier. Where do I feel this? And as you're breathing, witness where in your body do you feel something? Is it your chest? Is it your stomach or your jaw? Maybe your shoulders are a little tight. There is no right or wrong answer. To lean in, all I want you to do is allow whatever sensations are coming up for you. The body speaks in sensations, not stories. Your emotions are the language of the body. Your thoughts are the language of the mind. And when you listen without trying to change anything, the body can then begin to trust you. You're not trying to rush and force anything, right? You're not sitting here being like, I have to get over here in order for me to be here. No, you recognize that when the body trusts you, it stops needing to speak loudly. So your body talks, right? Illness, injury, dis-ease is all your body speaking to you and telling you that you are not in alignment. And that leads us into key 3, which is really all about slowing everything down. It's important to remember that healing happens at the speed of safety. And in the space of safety, you have to feel safe. This connects into your root. It's your survival instinct. It's important to remember that it's not a one and done, nor is it a linear experience. It is messy, back and forth, fucked up, and so incredibly beautiful, wrapped into one beautiful mess. In my own honesty, I feel this is the biggest purpose that we have being human, to feel and be in the messy bits of building and living a life that speaks to you. To be human is to taste, to touch, to feel. And I want to remind you, this is very, very important. If anything through this process starts to feel super fucking crazy, intense, or you're not really sure how to go through it, slow the moment down. Take a step back and again, slow your breath. Soften your shoulders. Remind yourself that you are safe in this space, that you are okay to witness what is surfacing for you. Unclench your jaw. Slowing yourself down and meeting yourself where you are isn't avoidance. It's actually regulation and honoring your journey through this process. It's allowing you to accept where you are and the path that you are choosing to embrace.
I want to pause here for just a moment. If slowing down, listening to your body, and creating safety within yourself is feeling supportive, then I want you to know you don't have to do this alone. There is a space for you where you are completely safe to express yourself, to share. And I want you to know that the Alchemist Lounge is a sacred space that I created for people who want and are looking for ongoing support, embodiment practices, real conversations, and a community of other people who are going through this healing journey as well. It is a sacred space where this kind of healing gets to be explored gently, consistently, and in that space of community with daily teachings, Monday to Friday at 11:11 a.m. and 12:12 p.m. We do a Friday letting it go. It's really a space to practice what you're learning and what we're talking about here. You can ask questions as well as really feeling supported while you're moving through your own healing journey. Because that is so incredibly important. When we feel supported and we feel inspired, we allow ourselves to go further, to shine brighter. So if you are curious about the lounge, but not quite sure yet if it is a space for you, you can try it out risk-free for 30 days before committing. And then when you're hooked, you can dive on in because there is over 100+ hours of content on the online portal, plus daily connections every single day. So you can really feel into whether it is the right fit for you without any pressure. If you feel drawn to this, I invite you to check out the link in the show notes description below whenever it feels aligned for you. Now, let's continue with the keys for feeling it to heal it.
And we're going to move now into opening that door even further. We've been learning to slow down. We're meeting ourselves in that spaces. We're naming it. Now it is important. Key 4 is all about separating then, now. So it's important to remember when you're going through something, your initial reaction is usually based off of your ego and something that happened in the past. So give yourself some time and space and ask yourself this question really quietly when you're recognizing these emotions. Is this happening now in this moment? Is this something that I'm currently experiencing? Or is this something that feels familiar from before? Very important to remember this, okay? Noticing what belongs to the past doesn't mean that you're dismissing it. You're acknowledging that you're giving your nervous system some updated information and you're giving yourself permission to move forward and let go. Because that initial, right? A lot of the times, yes, is kind of that intuition. But if you're in a situation and you're feeling reactive versus responsive, right? You can honor what you've been through without actually having to live inside of it. What you're doing is you're preserving the lessons of those past experiences and the mirrors that are being shown to you. And you're recognizing that you are allowed to orient yourself into safety now and in a different process and path. The past was the past. And now you can choose a different direction because you are far more aware and grounded. So slowing down, doing this work rather than jumping on that in that reactive experience, you're creating this space. So even if your body learned to survive in a different time doing these things, you are safe and inspired now to lean into new energy and a new experience today. So you're allowing yourself to emotionally detach from these experiences that happened in your past and recognize that you get to choose a different process, a different experience, and you can let it go. Which brings us into key 5, feeling it without fixing. So this is important because when you're trying to fix something, it means that you are broken or it is broken. We as human beings, we are never broken. We are moving through things, we're transforming energy. And it's important to recognize that in this moment, right, when you're feeling it, not to fix it, this is all about noticing if your mind is automatically wanting to solve, rationalize, or move on, right? Just get past it. If you're rushing to push through something, this is your ego trying to bring you back into safety, which in other terms means that it's bringing you back to what it knows is normal. So when you're going through this process and you're feeling it to heal it, it can feel really uncomfortable at first. So don't get discouraged because the more that you do this, the more awareness you build, the easier it becomes for you to choose a different state of being. It's kind of like riding a bike. You fall off the bike a whole bunch of times, but ultimately you do get better at it. It's also important to remember that you don't need to fix anything because you are not in any way broken. Feeling without fixing doesn't mean either that you're staying stuck in that past energy. What you're doing is you're learning to emotionally detach yourself so you can sit and again, right? We want to observe with no resistance, no judgment. We want to allow ourselves, right? So we need to allow enough space for that emotion to complete that cycle. Allow it to play out, but that doesn't mean that you have to jump into it and be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, right? For you to become the observer and witness without that judgment what is coming up so that you can dive deeper and learn more. You're witnessing the lessons and the deeper wounding so that it doesn't have to keep repeating itself. We like to all say that we've learned our lesson, and then spirit, the universe, God, whatever it is that you resonate with is like, but did you really? So remember that presence and acceptance heals more than answers ever could. You got to allow yourself to be where you are. And then key 6 is all about unhooking yourself from that past story. Who you were in that past was who you needed to be. And it allowed you to get through what it was that you were experiencing at that time. But that's not who you are now. Yes, it is an integral part of you being who you are, but it's not who you need to be. So the important piece within key 6 is understanding that your feelings are valid. And the stories are your brain's interpretation of that experience. So you see something, it comes in, your brain perceives it based off of these past experiences, all of this conditioning. And it's important to recognize that you can feel fear without actually being unsafe. And you can feel grief without actually being broken. And when you allow yourself that space to be in all of those emotions, recognize that it's time to ask yourself, what story am I attaching this feeling to? And does it still belong to me? Because who you were is not who you are now. Is this story and narrative something that I want to continue giving my energy, time, and attention to? Because you see, the stories you learned in the past once, yes, kept you safe. And you're not wrong for having them or needing them at that time. Who you were then is who you needed to be. But who you were then is not going to get you to who you want to be over here. So when you are noticing and you're sitting with these stories, you're simply allowing yourself to notice whether these stories still fit with who you're becoming now, or is it time for you to create a new story? The next key is all about giving yourself a safe exit and working with somebody while you're going through deep emotional healing. Because the thing to remember is that your ego is always going to block you at some point because it thinks that it is keeping you safe. So when you are working with a mentor and a healer or a guide, or you're putting yourself in different environments and spaces, what you're doing is recognizing that healing is not about endurance, right? This is not about you forcing or striving or pushing to be somewhere because you want to be or think that you need to be there in order for this to be valid. At any moment along this healing journey, you can pause. You're going to fall off the wagon. You're going to go back into old patterns. You're going to fall into the same damn hole. It's important that when you find yourself spinning, remember that you can ground, you can take that step away, and you can take a break. Choosing to pause is not quitting. You have to allow space for integration. If you are constantly learning and learning and learning and learning and learning and doing and doing and doing and doing and doing, but you're not integrating it, you're missing the point. So this is all about self-leadership. You're allowing yourself to put into practice and play what you're learning. You're recognizing that changing your life is not an overnight experience, and it's going to take some repetition and some stumbling along the way. But it's so important to remember to keep going, even when you feel like you're not seeing the transformations or the manifestations right at the moment. It's important to recognize that you are worthy of living that life that you wish to create, and you are already on the path to create it. Now we're going to take a pause and dive into this beautiful self-made guide for learning exactly what it means to feel safe for self-care.
Take a journey with me as we hit pause on the keys and dive into if what you're experiencing and exploring here is really landing for you and you are looking to dive a little deeper. It might be helpful to have something that supports you after this episode ends. And if you're listening and thinking to yourself, okay, I'm feeling this, but I don't really know how to hold myself through this process afterwards. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not missing the mark anywhere. That is actually why I created my own ebook, Feeling Safe for Self Care. This is a great, simple tool that is going to help you come back to again and again when you need grounding, safe space, and no pressure. This is a one-on-one guide to really help you understand and learn what it means for you to feel safe for self-care and what is self-care to you. It's not about doing more or fixing yourself. It's really all about gentle, practical ways to support your nervous system, reconnect with your body, and give yourself permission to rest and integrate what it is that you are learning, especially while going through deep emotional healing work. It is so important to know that if this feels supportive for you, you'll find that link in the show notes below so that you can tap in when you are ready to. And now let us keep going as we take this home with your final 3 keys to feel it, to heal.
Welcome back. And let's bring this home with style as we lean in to the integration process, which brings us into key 8, moving it through the body. So movement is really all about that taking action, right? We've learned that the thoughts are the language of the mind, the emotions are the language of the body. And when we can bring the two together, we can really allow ourselves to step into that integration and inspired action because we're remembering that emotions are energy in motion. So for integration, it's important to remember that energy is never created nor destroyed. It is merely transmuted and transformed. Energy completes itself through that movement. So you've allowed yourself to process those thoughts, the stories that you keep telling yourself, the emotions that you're feeling it to heal it. Now we want to move through it. So as I've said before, I will share in another episode, your personal reality is a mirrored reflection of your personality. Dr. Joe Dispenza. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So remember to stretch, remember to shake, remember to allow yourself to integrate, breathe deeply, move through this energy. Your body, when you are moving through emotions and physically moving your body, you're tapping into different energies and emotions. So allow yourself to let some sound out, make noise, and reclaim your power to take up space along the way. You're not here to shrink or play small. And this isn't about performance. This is about you honoring your value and giving yourself permission to live your life on your terms, permission to take up space and live the life that speaks to your soul. What are those beliefs that you keep thinking? And are they helping you get to where you want to go? Or are they keeping you in the energies and experiences of other people? It's important to remember that the first 7 years of your life, you don't know the difference between fact and fiction. And that brings us into this next key, which is incredibly important and probably one of the biggest game changers that you can embrace. Shifting that energy from judgment to curiosity. So rather than you judging yourself for having those emotions, for being the way that you used to be, for going through the experiences that you've had. What if instead of asking yourself, what's wrong with me, you actually gave yourself the space and permission to start asking, what is this part of me asking for? And what part of me is present right at the moment? Is there a part of me that is asking to feel seen or safe or heard? Is there a part of me that's just asking to be accepted? It's important to really remember that curiosity softens resistance and opens the door. Insistence creates resistance. So let it go and allow yourself to get curious about where you are and what you are creating, while also remembering that judgment hardens and closes the door. Judgment, as I said before, is a deeper aspect of your own healing that you have yet to face. So remember that healing and growth respond to kindness. Self-empowerment is all about bringing your own power back within self. You're not living your life based off of the dreams of other people anymore. You're no longer asking or looking outside yourself for that go ahead or yes, you can. You're learning how to be your own cheerleader. You're learning how to hold space for your own messy bits. You're learning how to choose yourself even when it's not comfortable. And finally, we come to our last key. And that is really all about bringing all of these pieces together for integration. You're integrating, you're not rushing. It's really important to remember. When I find myself in this space of feeling like I need to be doing more, I need to be pushing more, I need to be, racing more, I remind myself that everything is happening exactly as it is meant to, and I am exactly where I am meant to be. And then I remember that after doing deep emotional healing work, and when you're actually doing that deep internal work, your system also needs rest and nourishment. It's important for you to fill your soul cup as well as understanding your own abundance. You can't expect yourself to be tossed through the ringer and not need a little refueling along the way. So nourish your body with wholesome foods. Get outside, ground, go for a walk, rest, drink water, sit quietly and meditate. Reflect on what came up for you through this episode and through this experience. Reflect on how you're feeling now versus how you were feeling before. Allow things to settle. Integration is really where those changes take root. This is where you're meeting yourself again and again and again. They say that manifestation is a 3-step process and the work is in step 3. This path and journey is not you walking, this path and journey that you are walking is not for the faint of heart. And I'm here to remind you that you carry an incredible strength within you that is ready to shine through. You are ready to own this next level. You are ready to own your story and your light. put that crown atop your head. And as we begin to close out episode 1, I really want to give you this final reminder. Once you really begin this healing journey, you do become somebody else. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to question your sanity, and you're going to ask yourself, what is this all about? But becoming somebody else is the point. Healing is learning how to move forward while releasing the judgment around who you've been, the choices you've made, and the ways you've survived when you needed to be that way. And now you get to choose a new and inspiring path. One that, yes, is going to feel bumpy, uncertain, and completely out of sorts sometimes. Welcome to the drunken toddler waddle phase. But the more and more that you do this work and the more and more that you show up for yourself, the more you realize that you're not erasing or, changing your past. What you're doing is you're integrating the wisdom that those experiences brought you. And you're allowing yourself to evolve into greater choices, more compassion, and deeper, abundant truth. Allow whatever shifted for you today to settle gently, to recognize that everything is unfolding, and know that you are doing amazing work. Your guides are cheering you on as they walk alongside you. You don't need to rush to do anything. You just need to allow yourself to sit with it and be in this moment. Congratulate and celebrate yourself for how you're showing up and the work that you are moving through. Nobody else can do this work for you. You have to be the one to do it yourself. Healers don't heal you. We create the space for you to heal yourself. And in the next episode, we are going to explore what it means to create a safe space for healing both internally and externally. So allow this work to feel supportive. Allow to what resonates to resonate. I would love to hear your takeaways in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and don't miss the next episode of Stef with an F.